This week I came across one of the teams from Victorian Carriages preparing for a funeral in Tamworth, and they were kind enough to let me film them. I'll show you their beautiful turnout later in the video, but first let's take a quick gallop through the history of horse-drawn hearses. From the Saxons to the Victorians, there was normally a parish church or a burial ground within easy reach of any home. So for ordinary people, coffins could be carried to the churchyard by hand or wheeled on a small handcart. Even the grandest of funerals, like this one for Sir Philip Sidney in 1587, would require a group of pallbearers. However, as churchyards filled and towns expanded, people often had to travel further to a place of burial. And it was inevitable that for those who could afford it, transporting a coffin on some sort of horse-drawn vehicle was less strenuous and quicker too. For state funerals, the coffin was often carried on an open hearse in the style of a gun carriage, so the crowds could see it clearly. Here's a print illustrating Queen Victoria's funeral in 1901. And here's a photograph of Edward VII's funeral in 1910. The journey to a burial place was an opportunity for onlookers to demonstrate their respect and sorrow. It seemed that the grander the funeral was, the larger the team of horses they needed. But the style of the hearse itself wasn't fixed in any way. They could be small and simple, as large or as high as a house, and by today's standards, ridiculously ostentatious. Nelson's hearse in 1806 was in the style of a ship. Many of the design details on a Victorian hearse persist to this day. Velvet or satin curtains may be represented by tassels. The S-shaped hinged bars on the folding roof of a landau carriage may now be referenced by fake landau bars. These became popular on limousines in America, but they're rarely seen here in the UK. Roof ornaments including urns, angels, plumes, candles and torches have mostly been reduced to chrome detailing and elegant tracery on the topmost edges. But lamps, once a necessity and therefore a fairly consistent design feature on antique carriages, are often seen on hearses today, even though they're more about style than function. In 1900, the future of horse-drawn carriages was threatened for the first time. Could they be replaced by motor vehicles? The first British motor hearse appeared in Coventry in August 1901, at the funeral of William Drakeford. You might think he was someone important, but he wasn't. William was a caretaker who was employed at the same mill building for about 40 years. He started there when it was a cotton mill and stayed on when it was turned into a factory by the Daimler Motor Company. One of the leading experts at Daimler was Oliver Stanton. He was born in America, but by now he'd lived in Britain for 15 years. He'd even been the driving instructor for Edward, Prince of Wales, the future King Edward VII. When William Drakeford died, Oliver Stanton asked his relatives whether they would like the coffin to be brought to the cemetery by motorcar. With their agreement, Daimler set about converting a 6-horsepower motorcar into a hearse. Apparently it looked a bit like a gun carriage. The car was painted black. The body was draped with black fabric on each side. Supports were installed to hold the coffin, and some sort of padding to reduce vibration. Finally, a funeral pall was draped over the coffin, and wreaths were placed on top, including some from their fellow workmen. The driver, Mr. G.W. Adams, was dressed in black. Behind the hearse, family and friends were carried in 2 horse-drawn mourning coaches, and behind that came 2 Daimlers filled with representatives from the motor company, one of which was driven by Oliver Stanton. Several thousand people turned up to watch this groundbreaking procession. William was buried in London Road Cemetery in Coventry. Unfortunately, he wasn't recorded on Find a Grave, but I have added him this week. Daimler had started the ball rolling, but progress was slow. In 1903, there were reports of a converted motor car carrying a coffin from King's Lynn to Hillgate Fen in Norfolk. Then in 1904, a motor hearse, said to be the only one in England, travelled from London to the Rottingdean Road in Brighton to collect a young cyclist who had been killed. The next major development came from the Sturmey Motor Company, who built a hearse for a Coventry undertaker in 1909. In February 1910, the Sphere reported, "The vehicle has been tested for 3 months and has given complete satisfaction. It can travel at funeral pace and noiselessly and can make a suitable speed when long journeys are required." Later that year, the papers reported the introduction of a motor hearse in Paris. One reporter objected, "The tendency even in this country is to hustle a man through life, but surely we need not hurry him to his last resting place." Perhaps that reporter would be gratified to learn that over 100 years later, hearses still don't hurry. Thankfully, the horse-drawn hearse has never disappeared, and I'm pleased to say there are still companies offering horses and carriages for funerals across the UK. Dave Parsons founded Victorian Carriages in the 1990s. His first funeral carriage was sourced from a barn in a village in France. Today they have a team of about 20 well-trained horses. The next generation now carry out the firm's weddings and funerals, and they're busy almost every day. Meet Isla and Cass, two of their beautiful horses. I was impressed at how bomb-proof they were. While I was filming, the scrap metal man suddenly tooted his horn nearby, and all they did was turn slowly to have a look. Isla's an Irish sport horse, and Cass is a Gelderlander. They're both fit, strong horses, and I could feel their coiled spring energy while they were waiting to set off. This is the beautiful white hearse that Isla and Cass will be pulling today. Every inch is sparkling and polished. On the floor of the hearse there are rollers to help load the coffin, and the adjustable chrome and rubber stops keep it in the centre. The horses are wearing white ostrich plumes today, but they can wear other colours, even pink. This is Matt, known as Big Matt. He came to Victorian Carriages when he was 14 to do work experience, then joined the company as an apprentice and never looked back. This is Little Matt. He grew up in the business working with his father, and he's really passionate about what he does. I loved hearing Matt talk about how their horses bring a sense of calm at funerals. They don't mind being stroked by strangers at all, and their presence is wonderfully therapeutic, helping families to deal with their intense emotions on a difficult day. Completely by chance, I was doing some research in Tamworth Library when we spotted the team arriving at St Editor's Church. I waited until the funeral party had gone into the church, then went out to have another look. While Big Matt held the reins and spoke to the undertakers, Little Matt was busy rubbing the horses down and checking them over. I couldn't resist stroking the horses' noses. Bye for now. See you again soon.